Federation versus Freedom by Babasaheb Ambedkar. 7. Part 7. How does this legal necessity arise? I say the legal necessity for treating certain subjects as reserved arises because of the Indian states. I go further and say that there would be necessity for treating certain subjects as reserved if the Federation was confined to the British Indian provinces only. The reservation of certain subjects is a direct consequence of the entry of the Indian states into the Federation. What is it in the position of the Indian states which compels certain subjects to be treated as reserved? To be able to answer this question, I must first draw your attention to Section 180 of the Government of India Act. Section 180 says, any contact made before the commencement of Part 3 of this Act by or on behalf of the Secretary of State and Council solely in connection with the exercise of the functions of the Crown in its relation with the Indian states shall, as from the commencement of Part 3 of this Act, have effect as if it had been made on behalf of His Majesty, and references in any such contract to the Secretary of State and Council shall be construed accordingly. This section gives statutory form to the contention put forward by the princes before the Butler Committee and accepted by them that the treaties of the Indian states were with the Crown of England as such and not with the Government of India. The next step is to note what follows from this theory. Now, what follows from this theory is very crucial, but has been unfortunately allowed to pass without due care and attention. The princes have contended that as treaty relations of the Indian states are with the Crown of England, the duty and responsibility of fulfilling the obligations arising under those treaties lay solely upon the Crown of England, and the Crown of England must at all times maintain itself in a position to fulfill those obligations. What is the obligations which the treaties with the princes impose upon the Crown of England? The principle of obligation imposed upon the Crown of England and which the Crown of England has undertaken by the treaties is to protect the princes from internal commotion and external aggression. How can the Crown fulfill this obligation? The only way, it is argued, that the Crown can fulfill this obligation is to reserve external affairs and the army under its exclusive control. You can now understand why I say that the necessity of reserved subjects is due to a legal necessity. That legal necessity flows from the treaty obligation of the Crown, and so long as the basis of the treaty relations remains what Section 180 says, it is the reserved subjects cannot become transferred subjects. And as the reserved subjects cannot become transferred, there is no scope even for responsible government, much less for dominion status. The end.